just watched one of the best movies of 2023 that I've never heard of, and I'm sure you haven't either. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carter Walker. I love talking about movies, music, comics, and games. So tonight, I just checked out Your Lucky Day, which in all honesty, I thought it was coming out next year. It's a Fantastic Fest movie that premiered back then. It's been on my radar ever since it premiered, and a few reviewers there give it some high praise. It stars Angus Cloud, rest in peace. And the basic plot is that someone in a gas station wins 156 million. Everyone else is trying to get it. Because this movie goes in so many different directions and has so much going on in it that I really don't want to spoil anything. I went in completely blind and I genuinely came out loving it. So I'll start out right with the positives. The positives of this movie are the performances, first and foremost. They were exceptional, particularly Angus Cloud as Sterling. He is the driving force of the movie, the person that kicks off the whole plot, kicks off everything. He helps kind of start the inciting incident, and I found him very interesting as somebody who you learn more and more throughout the movie doesn't want to do anything drastic, but is forced to. Down on his luck guy that just happens to stumble upon a life-altering situation, but not for him, and in a split second decides to make it for him. And there was a bunch of moments of tension throughout this film that were bolstered because of his performance. He did such a great job just portraying someone that is just from a walk of life that is so different than some people who watch this film might be. And he just makes it so relatable and casual and not understandable, but you feel very empathetic for him. You put yourself in his shoes. I mean, maybe you wouldn't murder people, but you put yourself in his shoes, like, wow, 156 million, like, and you kind of understand where he's coming from. And that sounds absolutely horrible when I say it out loud. But when you watch the movie, you really understand where everyone comes from in this film, because every character has a motivation or a reason why they could use that money. There's a pregnant waitress and her boyfriend who works playing piano at Nordstrom. It's not like he's going to bring in the big bucks to help pay for their kids' education, and she's a waitress. And you figure out more of why they're down on their luck, why they're suffering, why they could really use the money. There's a gas station owner who really could use the money as well. And there's just so much going on, so many surprises as well. I loved the way that the plot evolved throughout the film. This is like a bottle film or a chamber piece, which means that the film takes place entirely in one location, or almost entirely. It's the gas station and the surrounding area. There are a few scenes that take place throughout the film that aren't at the gas station, and so pretty much a bottle piece though. And I loved the way they were able to work tension throughout, especially in the second half of the movie. I was like biting my nails. I was just on edge, waiting for something horrible to happen, waiting for that hammer to fall, and definitely the payoff is well worth the wait. I definitely felt that the tension that builds throughout the film was worth it, and that the payoff in the end of the film was totally earned for everything throughout the movie. The behavior of the characters all makes sense. You understand their motivations. Again, it's something that's very understandable, something that's very, you see them in this situation and go, kind of like, it's odd. It asks you to put yourself in their shoes, in the character's shoes, and see what you would do from there. And that was something I think that played massively to the film's benefit. The cinematography, camera work, and effects were all exceptional as well. And there's so many moments throughout the film where the camera is used in such creative manner, or is used where things get on the camera, like blood, insects, a fly, water, and it just makes it feel all the more real and visceral, like you're watching a chain of events play out. And it is just so unfiltered and raw to where it kind of shocked me a lot. I was like, wow, this movie is just so unfiltered, and I loved it. I loved that aspect of the film, which is, again, why it's in the positives. Big whoop. The score of the film, very tense, very Reznor and Ross-esque with the strings that they use, and I know that might be a lame comparison to draw, but that's just what it reminded me of. And this is a film that hooks you from the very beginning. From the very start, it hooks you in this life, in this Powerball gamble. It's just so interesting throughout, and every time you feel like, oh, it might get a little repetitive, something happens, it hooks you again. Random people can come into the gas station and maybe step on a bullet or step on some ice cream or ask some questions about like cuts or bruises the characters have. But there's so many interactions that people have, because I wasn't spoiled by trailers or reviews or rumors, that I really enjoy just seeing this film play out unfiltered, just untampered by the rest of the public opinion. And I really enjoy that. Again, that's something very personal. So if you know everything going into this movie and you check it out, you might be like, this is so dumb. I could see this coming a mile away. For me, I thought it was something that was played very exceptionally well. My last positive is going to be the tone. This is a movie that is honestly very bleak. It's a very unflinching look at greed and capitalism in the United States of America. The characters have discussions about it. They talk about America, what it means to be poor, what it means to be rich, and the benefits of being rich and the downfalls, pitfalls of being poor. It's very unflinching with its message, and it also portrays a very bleak world for these lower to middle class people. So just as a heads up going in, I loved it. I loved the bleak tone, but it's not something that I would rewatch a ton. Sorry, something is going on outside. However, the film does have a few issues with it. So right into the mix, I'm going to go with the plot, because the plot here is so simple and yet so genius in my opinion. It's something that's just like, it hooks you right away, and it gets you right in there. It draws you in, and it plays out, and it also evolves throughout the film. Like I mentioned in my positives, this plot evolves throughout the film, takes different turns. But also, as you take those turns, this is something I didn't really want to mention in the positive. There are a few times where it's a little bit of a leap in logic, a little bit of a gap in logic. I'm sure there's going to be some plot holes. When I was watching it, I actually thought of a plot hole, but it's spoiler, so I won't say it. It's just sometimes there's things that happen where I'm like, that's a little convenient. And I'm throwing it in the mix here because while I did love the plot, the way it evolved, the way everything played out, the basic setup and premise, I do think there are a few too many conveniences for me to be like, this is a perfect plot, or not even a perfect. This is a great plot. I really loved it, to where, okay, maybe the way it evolves, I can respect and adore the way it evolves throughout the film, but it does come with a few catches to where there's a few conveniences in the film that I think really did not work whatsoever. As for my negatives, there is maybe one sequence in here where I feel like they tried to drag the tension on a little too long and a little too contrived for me. There's like someone, it's just, there's a conversation that I felt went on for too long, and it kind of deflated the tension of the third act, to where I felt like they were just bumping the tension up, and then this conversation happened, and then the tension, ooh. However, with that being said, I really loved this movie. That's like my only negative, along with the mix that I just read out. I really enjoyed this movie. I just barely finished watching it, and I could not find anything else about it on YouTube or anything like that. So I just wanted to get this video out to bring some attention to some movies that maybe don't get as much love. It flew under the radar when it released, apparently on like the 10th or the 17th. I can't remember which date. But overall, I'm going to give Your Lucky Day like an 8.5. 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. However, this is a movie that is very bleak, very unflinching with everything, so it's not something I can see myself rewatching from time to time, but it is an exceptional movie, and I do look forward to rewatching it in the future to see if my thoughts change. However, the tension and suspense throughout definitely carried it, bolstered by some great performances, particularly Angus Cloud, and the cinematography was very unique and drew me in from the beginning. So have you seen Your Lucky Day? If so, what did you think about it? Is this on your list to check out for 2023? Again, I recommend that it is. Is there anything I missed? I know I missed Dream Scenario, Saltburn, The Holdovers, Hunger Games. Those are all on my list to catch up on. Godzilla Minus One as well. I do need to check all of those out, hopefully within the coming weeks. But let me know what you guys thought about those films or Your Lucky Day down in the comments below. As always, guys, thank you so much for checking out. My name is Carter. Have a great rest of your day.